Joining me now is CNBC founder and contributor Tom Rogers. He's also a senior advisor to Versant Media, our soon-to-be parent company. Tom, does it matter which of these companies gets Warner? Does it matter to the industry and how it goes forward from here?
Thanks for having me, John. And let me just say at the outset, I'm speaking for myself and not Versant on this. I think certainly there are factions within the industry that seem to care. Labor has come out hard against Netflix. I'm not quite sure why, given the fact that the Paramount synergies are higher than what Netflix synergies will supposedly be under this deal, meaning Paramount will probably get rid of more people than Netflix will. From an employee point of view, I'm not sure that that would be a basis to distinguish the deals in Paramount's favor. But I think overall, you are going to, if Paramount and Warner merge, you're going to have a classic two-studio situation come down to one. If Netflix and Warner merge, it's not that clear, but I would think they'd want to keep the Warner studio alive. Netflix hasn't had that much success with original movies. They've had a lot of success with leasing access to studio output from other major studios. And the difference is probably theatrical marketing, and my guess is they'll keep that up.
To my understanding, the other part of it is the concern that under Netflix, an algorithm will be running the business and deciding what kinds of movies and TV shows get made and who gets to star in them, and that even though there might not be as many job losses up front, there might be some real losses down the line. How do you weigh in on that?
Well, I think both parties will be data-driven, and both parties will be gut-driven when it comes to what movies they decide to make. I'm not sure that's a consequential difference either in terms of which party wins here. In the end of the day, I'm not sure those industry factors are going to decide this. I think that in the end, it'll be how do shareholders value two different bids. I don't think we've by any means seen the end of this. I'd be surprised if Paramount stopped at what was essentially their previous bid that they are now saying they'll go to shareholders on. I'd be surprised that if that wouldn't be raised to factor in breakup fee and
Tom, who needs it more?
I think Paramount clearly needs it more. It's the weaker competitor. Netflix certainly has a game in its own right. I've been a huge bull on Netflix. Netflix said there's nothing that's a must-have. This is beginning to get priced as if it is a must-have for them. But having said that, I don't think it is a must-have for them. I think it's a much more important acquisition from Paramount's point of view.
How much M&A do you think needs to happen in the industry, and how much of a signal do we get on whether it can happen based on how this turns out?
Well, depending on how this turns out, there are probably other moves that happen by other parties down the road. Clearly, global scale really matters in the streaming business. There are not that many ways upon which it can be achieved. I think Netflix has already achieved global scale. Paramount hasn't. For Paramount, HBO's global footprint, which is developing rapidly, is much more important for its streaming business. But again, this is going to come down to how shareholders value the two. I think a lot is being made of one regulatory path versus another. But whatever Paramount thought it had by way of a regulatory advantage relative to its relationship with President Trump came down pretty hard on them today relative to their 60-minute segment. So I'm not even sure that will be that much of a factor in the end of the day.